Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here in the Panasonic Creator Studio with Editor-in-Chief of Better Homes and Garden, Stephen Orr. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Brian.
Stephen, how'd you get this job?
Well, I've been in magazines a long time, but Better Homes and Gardens, it was a recruitment process, to be honest. And what I love about Meredith, which is the corporation that owns Better Homes and Gardens, is they're very, very meticulous. So it was a long recruiting process, and I ended up getting the job. I kind of felt like I won the Olympics, because it's one of the largest consumer magazines in the country with an audience of 40 million. So it's a big place to, it's a big platform to address.
You probably have your work cut out for you. You brought in to quarterback this new team. Talk to us about how you're managing content. What's your content calendar look like? What's the criteria? How are you finding sources? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Better Homes and Gardens is in some ways a heritage brand, but also a brand that's continually relevant. And one reason that I'm here is to help us move forward and stay relevant. And with media, that's always a big challenge. So what we do is we have a great staff both in Des Moines, Iowa, where Meredith is based historically for almost 100 years, and in New York City on 3rd Avenue. And putting the two together has been great because it's a very talented group. So my job is to kind of think about this large brand and also talk about all the ideas that are coming in. I think one of the big things that any magazine now, we don't think of it as a print brand anymore. We think of it as a 360 brand. And so social media and digital is just as important, and video. All those things are so important to the brand.
You mentioned relevancy. I want to ask, relevant to who?
Relevant to all aspects of our market. We have a very established market who's been with Better Homes and Gardens for decades. Well, it is mainly primarily women, American women. Meredith is a company that really speaks to American women, since we have probably the largest media, unduplicated audience of American women over multiple platforms and multiple brands. And Better Homes and Gardens has always been speaking to American women from the very beginning. It was a brand that was sent so that people could make their houses better. People who are coming out of, maybe they were a farming family and they were getting things going great, money's coming in the door. It might have been the 1940s, and they're like, I want a better house. So that's kind of where we still operate from. We still operate from the idea of it's always improving and inspiring people, but we're also, in the same sense of being a media company, we're trying to attract a younger and new audience that will grow into our brand and help us keep the breadth and range that we've enjoyed for so many years.
So what are they asking for? What kind of content are they looking at?
I mean, do you mean like in terms of format, or in terms of what it is actually?
I think both. I'm curious about where they're consuming. If they're, you have a 360 approach, but are they 360 with you, or are you just covering the bases? Like, where are you seeing the most engagement and traction?
I feel like we hit people in different spaces, so we engage with people in different ways wherever they want to. That's where all media companies need to be now. We need to be right where they want us. So if you're somebody who enjoys the magazine experience, and there are many young people who like to have a magazine come in their lives because it's less fractured than, I'm always on my phone. I'm always, looking at Twitter, my Instagram. I love it, but it's a fractured experience. A print magazine is a way to kind of stop your moment for a moment, even for less than 5 minutes, and look at a magazine and be inspired that way. So that's one group. I would say we want to reach out to people in more quick ways, so that people are consuming information on the fly. So we might get them with Twitter, or we might get them with Instagram or Pinterest.
So are you repurposing like what's in the print magazine and like an echo chamber, porting it over, or is it completely original, new thought?
Everything is a mixture. Some things, we try to make every bit of content have a predestined life over all formats and platforms, so that every place that we know where the things are going to go, we know that this is going to be great for print, and then it's going to be great on digital, it's going to be great on social media, and then it'll be great in, we have books, we have special issues, all of that ecosystem, which is quite large. We like to think of things traveling throughout those places. So, and some things actually are, in the old way, I think it would have been print first, and then working outwards. And now we sometimes do the opposite, where our ideas often come from social media or come from what we've seen or hearing from people, from our influencers. We have a large influencer network, and our bloggers and people we work with, so that they inspire us and we inspire them. It's a two-way street.
Are you doing any video?
Yes, we have a very big production of video.
And where do those videos live? Where can people go find them, for example?
Well, bhg.com is a primary space, and then they also are sent out through all the social medias and all the different forums and places that we are focusing on that. So for instance, things that we might do here at CES, we want to make sure we highlight that, but then we also want to create a place that people can learn about tech. Because for me, and that's something I like to talk about, is that tech with Better Homes and Gardens seems like a strange fit to some people, but Better Homes and Gardens, we're really focused on tech because there's no home now that doesn't have tech involved with almost every aspect of whether it's a TV, a washing machine, or a refrigerator.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second. Some of these trends that you're seeing in home. Like, what are you seeing so far at CES? What's hot?
Well, this is my first CES because I'm pretty new to the job. And at other magazines, we weren't in the tech space the way Better Homes and Gardens is starting to do. And what I think is interesting is that we're coming here representing our consumer. And so we are interested in the latest thing, but we also don't want to get too distracted by the bells and whistles of stuff that may never see the light of day in someone's home. So we always think of our audience, we think of our reader, and we think of what will actually end up in their living room or their kitchen. And that's how we decide. We do a yearly selection of Editor's Choice Tech Awards, and this year it's 21 pieces. Those pieces are really related to what you can find now and use in your home right now. It's giving you indications of what's coming down the pike, but it's also things that you can have right now. So for us, it's that connectivity. You know, the buzzwords are obviously Internet of Things, right? This idea that ultimately it'll all be connected, all the pieces of the puzzle will come together and live in a way that is operated centrally. We're not there yet, but when you come to a show like CES, you can see how everybody is just on the border of making that happen. It just, whatever the next step that will make it all work together with that operating system or uniting of all those things. And so our readers may not even think about that quite yet, but they may buy a new appliance and not realize that their appliance is set up to operate within this new network, this kind of hive of the refrigerator, you know, responding to some sort of their computer or their daily schedule or their photograph or their music collection. All these things together are where we're kind of looking.
So the things that you're writing, I mean, are you trying to educate then? Is it more educational and informative? Like, hey, by the way, I bet you didn't know that your smartphone could talk to your refrigerator, or you can control the lights in your house with an app, or is it that? Or is it more, you know, featuring things that are happening and not as much about what it is, but like how you could use it?
It's definitely usability, less theoretical and more utilitarian. So we want it to be where our readers can immediately feel like it's part of their lives and not an abstract concept. For our readers, we probably wouldn't talk about the Internet of Things as much, but for me as an editor, I need to know what the backstory is on how the market is thinking, because ultimately this idea will present itself in people's homes because the products are all going that way. You know, think of the time that you had the big old TV with the deep TV. You can't do anything with those TVs anymore. They're completely out of date. So everyone's home will move forward with all of these things just because at some point you can't buy the old thing anymore. So you have to. And as the price points come down, we're a very mainstream magazine audience. So we want to be there at the forefront, but we want to help guide our readers and educate them, which is a good word. Educate them so that when they start, they may not even be conscious, but when they encounter it in the store, they'll be like, oh, that rings a bell. They may not even know where they saw it, but they know that it's part of their life. It will be part of their life.
I want to ask you about Facebook. Are you guys paying attention to Facebook video? Like, are you?
Facebook is a big. I mean, all the big social media ways of presenting information are the way that we do it. So Facebook we use for a certain audience. We reach a certain audience there. Twitter we reach a certain audience. Instagram we might reach a younger audience. So we are taking advantage of all those places. We have a very robust video department in both Des Moines, Iowa, and in New York City, and we're constantly making videos so that we can compete in this space where it's about easy tips, labor-saving devices, ways that people never thought of using something. In this day and age, a magazine is not a one, it's not like it's a boundary. It's part of the ecosystem of media. So we want to be part of other people's, the way people work over all of media. So it's very much a give and a take between all of these different types of people.
That's excellent. We're going to spend a few minutes with Editor-in-Chief, Better Homes and Gardens, Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.